Tonight, a former state employee comes forward asking, what is the Maryland Department of Education hiding? This after Fox 45 News obtained documents from the state that are heavily redacted.
As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, some of those documents have now been unredacted, which is revealing a hidden email address apparently used by the state school superintendent.
He's using it for nothing good.
This person is a former high-level employee at the Maryland State Department of Education. Fearing retaliation, we agreed to conceal their identity.
It doesn't make sense. It seems like you're hiding something.
This whistleblower, who worked under State Superintendent Mohammed Chaudhry, is reacting to something we just told them about their former boss. They didn't know. As an MSDE employee, were you made aware that the superintendent had this second email?
No.
Project Baltimore first reported on this email thread last week. We received it through a public records request. The subject line reads, Project Baltimore request. All the emails in this thread were sent on March 3rd in response to an email we sent MSDE concerning our investigation that found 23 city schools where 0 students tested in 2022 scored proficient in math. When we first received this thread, the final email was fully redacted, including the superintendent's email, which isn't redacted elsewhere in the thread. But we believe the public has a right to know what its government is doing to educate children, especially at Maryland's lowest performing schools. So we replied to MSDE asking for the specific state law that allows for these redactions. A few days later, the state responded by unredacting parts of this email. And what we can see now is raising a lot of questions. On the state's website, this is the state superintendent's only visible email address, mohammed.chaudhry@maryland.gov. But this is not the address the state superintendent used to send this email. Once the state removed the redactions, we can see he sent it from mohammed.chaudhry725@maryland.gov. But that's not all we can see. The state also removed the redactions for 3 of the 4 recipients of this email. These 3 people work for MSDE. But what about this person? Why is this email still redacted? Why is the state superintendent using a secondary email address to send messages to people that the public can't see? And most importantly, why was all of this redacted in the first place?
I believe they don't want you or the public to know that Mr. Chaudhry has a different email address that he could be conducting official MSDE business through. It doesn't look good. It makes it look bad.
The state told Fox 45 in a series of statements the superintendent's secondary email address at first was inadvertently redacted, but he used it as a means of organization because his primary email address receives a myriad of messages from stakeholders every day. As far as the body of the email being blacked out, the state is still citing what's called the deliberative process privilege, which means if the superintendent is discussing strategy with fellow employees, that can be redacted. But that exemption may not apply depending on who the 4th recipient is. In this statement, MSDE said the 4th recipient is legal counsel and therefore is subject to redaction. But attorney Scott Martyr says that's not true.
There's nothing in Maryland law, including in the Public Information Act, that allows them to do that.
So you think MSDE is just wrong?
I think they're wrong. I think they're violating Maryland law by not giving you all of the names of the recipients.
Superintendent Chaudhry's contract expires next year. The State Board of Education has not yet offered him a new contract, even though Chaudhry has said he wants to stay.
It's really important to get this right for the families and the children of Maryland.
The next board meeting is August 22nd. And this whistleblower is asking the board to not vote on Chaudhry's future until the public, taxpayers, parents, and students have answers.
I do not believe that this is the person that should be leading our state into the future.
I'm Chris Papps, and this is Project Baltimore.
The redacted emails from MSDE are only part of Project Baltimore's investigation into the Maryland State Department of Education. Earlier this week, we told you about 98 text messages sent or received by the state superintendent that were deleted, which could be a violation of state law. So who, if anyone, will look into all of this? That part of Project Baltimore's investigation in the coming days.
I'm Chris Pabst. Thanks for watching. Here's another story to watch. Also, if you have a story idea, please send us a message.